What's going on, y'all? So Hafiz has been getting clowned this last week because of his performance on a couple of shows. And one thing that when I went and looked up his name that popped up was this video, which is Why I Got Married and the 50% Divorce Rate Myth. Now, I'm interested to hear how he actually explains how it is a myth because I myself have never actually went and looked that stat up. I haven't. So that could be, it could be fake. It could be a myth. But I'm pretty sure that it's not because nobody, other than this video, assuming that he actually does it, has ever actually debunked it. And there have been lots of people in favor of, not in favor, excuse me, but wanting to get rid of the idea that this many marriages end in divorce, and they haven't done it. So I'm interested in hear what he has to say. So let's get to it.
Yo, what's good, everybody? This is Hafiz. And before we begin today's conversation, I would like to share with you the fundamental idea behind today's message. In everything you do in life, there will be risk. From driving a car, to boarding a plane, to starting a business, and even getting married. There's absolutely nothing that you do in this life where there is zero risk. Now, with that information...
Okay, already. I probably haven't finished that. I might regret this. But he said something similar to Coach Greg Adams. And he said, yeah, I mean, as a man, when you lose, you lose. And it's like, I'm not taking that fucking deal. I'm not. Does the other side have to take that deal? Why do we have family court if you just take a loss? If you just lose? Why do we have that? Why do we have any welfare system ever if you just lose? Why the fuck are we expected to, despite what the logic says, why are men just expected to just take it, you're a man. Just take the L. No. I'm not going to just take the L.
You can do one of two things. You can live your life to eliminate all risk, or you can live your life to alleviate the risk.
I'm interested to see where he goes with the eliminate all risk and then alleviate, because it sounds like he's trying his best to set up a dichotomy system when we all know that there's much more nuance to it. But I'm pretty sure that if given a chance to question about this, he would just say, well, the nuance is in the alleviation, which you do this and that, this and that, this and that to make sure that you don't go through it. Whatever.
Let me explain using a random statistic. According to the Bureau of Labor, 45% of businesses fail within the first 5 years of starting. So with that information, you can do one of two things. On one end, you can eliminate all risk. And how do you do that? Just to start a business. Because if you don't start a business, guess what can never happen? A business can never fail. Problem solved. But on the other end, you can alleviate the risk. And how do you alleviate risk? You still start a business, but on the flip side, what you will also do is get mentors support you along the way.
Oh, okay, listen, I understand that when I do these, I by default become biased towards people, and I admit that's what I'm doing here. Here's the thing. When you understand that that's the percentage of businesses that fail and succeed, and also all of the other work that goes into a business, and another thing that people never really talk about when opening a business is you may end up doing a lot more work to still make that $50,000. Because there are people who own their own businesses that still make regular income. They just, I guess, do something they like or whatever it is. That's why they still do it for the 20, 30 years. So, and then when he says alleviate the risk by just, getting people who, I forget what he says, supporters or something like that. But it's like, okay, how many people have successful business owners in their circle? And if you don't have them in your circle, is it just one of these things where it's like, oh, well, just put yourself in a... Again, we got 15 minutes left. Well, 16 minutes left. Maybe he'll talk about that. But this idea of, oh, would you treat running business the same way? Yes. Yes, you would. Because that trying to start your own business could put you into a hell of a lot of debt. Trying to start your own business could make you homeless. So it's very rational, much like marriage, to go, is that something for me? Let me look at it, everything that I want to look into.
What you will also do is get a great business partner to come alongside you on your journey. What you will also do is get all the tools and resources and do your due diligence and research to learn about the ins and outs of that particular field that you desire to be a part of. What you can also do is shadow somebody who's in that field, or even work for a great company in the field in which your business that you want to start is going to be in.
Okay, another thing. When people compare it to businesses, one thing that they leave out, and I understand why they use business, so I'm not going to blame them for that. But one thing that they always leave out is, even though I'm one of those people who say marriage is a business, you got to understand, your partner is equipped with just a basic bailout clause that can fuck you in the end. So you have to also put that in play if you're going to compare getting married to starting a business, because it isn't, that other entity is there, meaning your spouse. And if you're talking to men, listen, I know y'all like to do, only millionaires have to worry about alimony. No, they don't. Alimony is a high, like the broad term, but then within that you have transitional support, spousal support, and all that type of stuff. And regular ass dudes do go through that in a situation. In Michigan, I read up, there is no starting point. You can be making 20 bands, and if they say you owe her spousal support, you're going to be paying her those $5 a week. So that has to be put in play when you compare it to a business.
Eliminating risk, alleviating risk. Never for a second am I communicating that there are zero risks to marriage. And one of my biggest frustrations today is that so many people online share so much exaggerated data and so much unhealthy messages about marriage and divorce. And these unhealthy messages are deterring away a generation of young men who desire marriage and family. Because in my opinion, what we don't need in a society is more single moms. And
why does it sound like he's trying to force every last word out? And I'm asking that question because things like that make me think somebody is okay. This sounds beyond rehearsed. All right, I know that you're supposed to rehearse. Damn it, I scratch that because I can't get it by. But then now it's all going down the path of, like he just said, single moms. What the fuck they got to do with people deciding not to get married? Unless you're assuming that most or all of the dudes who are deciding not to get married are still making children. It's been said time and time again that even women say it. Most dudes ain't fucking. So why do they keep breaking up stuff like this when they're talking about men who don't desire marriage?
Definitely don't need more young males being raised without their fathers, especially in the black communities. What we need is men and women coming together, creating healthy families, and leaving a legacy of greatness for generations to come. So let me explain to you why I believe most conversations about marriage and divorce today are extremely deceptive at the worst or extremely misguided at the least. And the first reason is that 50% of marriages today don't end in divorce, especially first marriages. If you are to go online and do your research and look up through 50% of marriages in 2022 and in divorce, you will not find a single respectful article or reference resource that's going to communicate that idea. What you will find is that almost everyone is sharing how the divorce rate has been rapidly decreasing within the past 50 years. And what you will also learn is that when most people quote that 50%, everyone is sharing how the divorce rate has been rapidly decreasing within the past 50 years. And
in the last 50 years, so what was it when it first started? If it's decreasing rapidly over 50 years, there's only 100 points in 100%. So the divorce rate was never 100, right? I think the highest it was like 72. But let's go even higher. Let's just go 80, which is high as fuck. I don't think it was ever that high. So over 50 years, rapid decrease. So it should be down to like 10, right? Or is it still a high ass number? You want to talk about misguiding and deceptive, dude?
What you also learn is that when most people quote that 50% divorce statistic, what they're quoting is how the divorce projections.
Hold on, let's read this. In 1970s, the annual rate was 3.5 per 1,000, but by the end of the decade, it reached 5.1 divorces per 1,000 Americans. Okay, I hate numbers like this because what they're trying to do is make you do a whole bunch of math and make you try to figure out what the fuck that number is.
Were taking place in the 1970s due to the skyrocketing divorce rate, which was caused by the technological shock that was a result of no-fault divorce. You see, my biggest thing is I don't want anyone watching this video and saying, oh, because Hafiz said it, it's true. No, do your research yourself. I'm not God. I'm not a prophet. I'm just a man who likes to read books and share my opinions. So my goal is that everybody uses their own mind and pray about every single thing that I say and accept what is true and reject what is false. But what happens so often today is so many men go to redpillfacts.org and they use all that information like it's gospel truth, and they don't navigate, research, and investigate to see what is really going on today.
Okay, here's the problem with saying we just take stats as truth. We just take the... Dude, even if you eliminate all the numbers, we can see shit as we're growing up. We can hear each other speak about shit. We can see what old boy... Millennials right now are in our 30s. Some of us about to hit 40. We can look at, all right, that dude went through hell with his divorce. That dude paid hella child support. That dude... You can just look at the shit that's going on around you. On the other side, women have done the same thing, have they not? How often do you hear them say, oh, make sure you got your own money because his ass can leave? Does anybody ever try to bunk those numbers? Don't even bring up numbers. They just say niggas was whooping women's ass in the 1950s. That's why we need to stay, independently in a relationship somehow. Because independent solo is good for a relationship, apparently. You don't even need the numbers. So this whole entire video, I'm now realizing it's kind of a moot point. A moot point for what he's trying to do. Because you can't get rid of... Listen, do you want us to learn everything the hard way? Do you want to... Why do we have to learn everything the hard way? I want to know that. Because I refuse to absolutely have to do that. That annoys the hell out of me.
World, because when you do your due diligence, you find out that the landscape is not as bleak and terrible as so many people online want to paint it out to be. And what you will also see is that so many experts predict that the divorce rate is going to continue to drop even more drastically, especially as the baby boomers go on to the next life. Unfortunately,
they predict it is going to drop based on what, Hafiz? You can't just say they predicted. There's a reason that they predicted it is going to fall. Are less people going to get married overall? Which by default would lead to, less people getting divorced? What are they predicting that, there's going to be more polygyny? In which people will just say, this is instead of having a bunch of single people, they decided that they're going to have these big families. I'm pulling this out of my ass right now. I'm just trying to come up with whatever example. But there's a reason why they predicted it. What was the reason?
We live in a society where negativity sells. And the negativity is so much louder than the positivity. You know why? Because the positive people are happy, quiet people. And what happens is, us online, so many people want to share their anecdotal worst case scenario stories to deter everyone away from what's going on. Let me tell you something. This is the year 2020.
Okay, here's the problem with that. You just said anecdotal worst case scenarios. Okay. So the people who are quiet, even if they did speak up, would that be the anecdotal best case scenarios? If we're talking about divorce, Either you get divorced or you don't. So, do you really need the worst case? Come on, dude. You don't really need... Take somebody like me. Don't want a broken family. I don't care how bad or how nice the divorce is. I don't want it. I don't want a broken family. So by telling me, oh, it's not... She's not going to divorce you and take you through the ringer. She's going to divorce you because she was like, I just want a divorce. That's not going to make it better for me. Like, it's like, what are you talking about?
22. So much has happened in human history. There's 7.5 billion people on this planet, and it's still growing. There's enough worst case scenarios about any topic to deter you away from anything. But my desire is that men should not live their life off of worst case scenarios. Men should not live their lives in fear based upon any message that someone communicates online without looking at the whole picture of the good and the bad that life has to offer. So what I'm really hoping is that every single man watching this video rejects pessimistic nihilism. Reject it because it is a cancer to your soul. But I'm not saying embrace childish optimism, because that's also equally as foolish. But instead, what every man should embrace is positive realism, where you understand the good and the bad in life, but instead of
Okay, Hafiz, listen. Or anybody who thinks like Hafiz. I once told, I'm pretty sure I've shared this story a few times. There was this chick on Facebook. She was 31, and she was just a regular, average-looking chick. Now, that's not a diss for those people who think that everybody's supposed to be drop-dead gorgeous. She was just a regular, average chick, 31 years old. I asked her, because she shared something about how only married men shoot they shot. So I asked her, the men who approach you and ask you out, like, how many of them do you actually give your number to? She said, she kind of laughed at it and said 25%. And when you ask women, Hafiz, do a study of single women and the percentage of men they actually give the time of day to. You'll find that it's quite low. So it's not nihilism or, in whoever you are, black pillism, to say, oh, it's just, it wouldn't work because this comes from women themselves. They don't say yes a lot. They have a extremely low approval rate. That supports the studies that say a third of dudes ain't fucking. So Hafiz, you have to actually, like, get off of, I'm just going to call it a high horse, and understand it's not just anecdotal evidence. It's shit that we can look at and see. It's shit that we can hear. So it's not just practicing some nihilism. It's practicing realism.
Listen in on the bad all the time. You aspire for the good, and you equip yourself with all the tools and the resources to desire and attain that good. And the second reason why most conversations about marriage and divorce is misleading is because most general divorce statistics do not apply for specific individuals. Let me give you an example. The other day I was having a conversation with an Asian man who only dates Asian women, by the way, about his thoughts about marriage and divorce. He told me he really wanted to get married, but he was so afraid because divorce rates were so high. I literally pulled it up online and showed it to him, and he saw with his own two eyes how Asian Americans have the lowest divorce rates compared to all ethnicities in America, with rates anywhere as low from 10 to 16%. He was shocked because he had no idea this was the case. And I explained to him, when most people are showing you the data, they share with you general numbers to confirm their worldview. But you...
Okay, so here's when people accidentally put their foot in their mouth. So if you're going to tell an Asian man that, hey, your group just divorced the least, for one, you're not telling him why. Is it the first generation Asians? Is it just all Asians who are taken into consideration? Is it the Asians who are over here on like visas and shit? Does he fit into that? You don't sound like you're going to even, like you've asked that question. But now let's flip that to me, a black guy. Black men and black women are like 1 and 2 and at the bottom of marriage rates, but we still divorced at the same rate as everybody else. Of course, except for Asians. So are you now understanding why I would say, fuck that, I'm not getting married? Because according to the philosophy you just shared, I shouldn't, because it's just such a damn near rarity that it'll work out for me, right?
Have to factor into all the variables that make up statistics, especially when it comes to marriage and divorce. The divorce statistic and the divorce number is composed of so many extreme groups of people, right? You have Sally from West Virginia, who's 17 years old, who marries her cousin Billy Bob, and they got divorced in 3 months. She's part of the divorce numbers. But then you also have Sam in Arkansas, who only likes women younger than his youngest daughter, who's 67 years old, who's been divorced 6 times. He's also part of those numbers. So when you understand these things and you look at yourself as an individual, you realize that these general numbers don't apply to me, especially for the men of the standard. So,
Hafiz, the reason that that's bad philosophy is because, dude, I don't think they actually broke it down as much as you're trying to make it sound. And if they did, okay, well, fine. Tell us the groups that are most likely to fail and the groups who are least likely to fail. I'm talking race, weight, income, religion, all of it. I want to know. The problem is, the reason I don't think, and he could prove me wrong because I haven't watched this yet. The reason I don't think he's going to share all of those numbers, because like I just said like 7 minutes ago, you're going to end up showing a lot of people or confirming a lot of people, okay, I was right, marriage isn't for me. And that's going to be a hard sell to turn that around.
let me give you an example. According to the CDC data, the leading cause of death of all men is heart disease with 24% of deaths. But if I'm an 18-year-old guy from Minnesota who plays college sports, does that number apply to me? No. When you look at the data for the leading cause of death for males under the age of 19, what you find is that the leading cause of death is not heart disease, it is unintentional injuries. And for guys under the age of 19, heart disease goes from first place in all men to sixth place in men of this age group. So what you see is, depending on a myriad of variables, determines which statistics and data is relevant to your life. So
how fast, again, you actually put your foot in your mouth. Because if you're telling that 18-year-old boy, hey, heart disease isn't something you have to worry about. Not now, only like 30 years from now. Okay, but in order to give yourself the best chance, you have to start doing it now, Hafiz, right? You have to exercise and eat correctly from jump, Hafiz, right? So let's flip that to marriage. You have to do it right from jump, right? So when you're in the position of the people who would have an unsuccessful marriage or won't even get married at all, now what? You're going to flip a coin? Well, not flip a coin, but I'm struggling with pulling examples out of my ass here. But y'all get my point, right? It is a factor. Just because it's not a factor literally right now, it is a factor down the road, right?
when it comes to marriage, there's so much different data points and so many different factors that contribute to whether marriage will be successful or marriage will end in divorce. Factors like age, income level, religious values, social values, family background, whether you and that person is coming into a relationship with kids or not. All those things contribute to a marriage success rate. Social.
Let's look at this. Age difference. Marriages where there is a significant difference in age have twice the risk of divorce than those in which couples are close in age. So if you're a woman and you want to marry a guy who's like 15, 20 years older than you because he's stable, do you marry that guy? Based on the age, no. Education. Only 27% of college graduates will divorce by middle age. Premarital counseling. Couples who have gone through a marriage education course before marrying are generally up to 30% more likely to enjoy marital success. Family background. Having parents who have never divorced reduces divorce by a risk of 14%. Okay, this might be a dumb question, but when they say never divorce, or are they by default only doing people who have married parents? Or are they literally including the single parents? Because never divorce, that can be people who never married. Because there's nothing to divorce. All right, moving on. Marital history. Being previously divorced markedly elevates one's risk of subsequent divorce. Income. Having a collective annual household income of $50,000 or more is associated with a 30% lower divorce risk. Okay, here's the problem with this one right here. You're going to have to now convince those women that call in a lot of these shows and say, hey, look, actually, you're more likely to stay married if you get with that guy who, is the janitor at the high school. Good luck with that, Hafiz. Beliefs. Going into a marriage with husband and wife holding a strong personal conviction that marriage is for life protects substantially against divorce. Yeah, dude, this 2022, you can catch plenty of videos, threads on the internet, so forth, that people are saying, when it's time to go, it's time to fucking go. If I ain't happy, like actively happy, it's time to go. So you're actually meant to get married to who? Because they damn sure is not believing in some conviction of stay here and work the shit out. So who are they marrying, Hafiz? Another thing doesn't seem like people like Hafiz take into consideration is, what is the values of the society as a whole? Because if society as a whole is saying, no, divorce is not bad, get divorced whenever you feel like it, that hurts you. Last one.
I'm thinking, what better?
Religion. Those with a strong common faith and regularly attend religious services are 47% less likely to divorce. However, sharing a nominal faith has no protective effect. Good luck getting them to go to church at least once a week.
Values, family background, whether you and that person is coming to a relationship with kids or not. All those things contribute to a marriage success rate. So, for example, if I'm a 20-year-old guy who's broke and lives with my mom, but I'm interested in marrying an 18-year-old girl who's a high school dropout, who's also a single mom, plus she's a fourth-wave feminist, and her mom has been divorced multiple times, then guess what? Duh, marriage may not be a good decision. Duh, the divorce rate is probably going to be high in that situation because all these variables are trending in the wrong direction. But if I'm a 30-year-old man who's financially stable, who comes from a good family, who is desiring to marry a 27-year-old woman, who also comes from a good family, who shares my similar life values and religious values, and really desires the same vision I have for life, then guess what? The divorce rate is so astronomically insignificant and so much lower than the first one. And when it comes to how the divorce rate is going to affect your life, it's statistically insignificant. You see, for the men of the standard, we are not.
Where the fuck are those numbers? Where the slide he showed before saying that is not those numbers. No, where are the numbers for what he's saying right now? Where the hell are those numbers? And again, you're talking about a society that does not have values. We don't have values today. So who are you telling to get married? To who?
consumed. We're not obsessed. We don't care about the data points that affect the average guy. Why? Because the men of the standard are not trying to be average. The men of the standard are not just trying to meet the standard. They're trying to set the standard. You see, in reality, most guys in the standard are college graduates. And being college graduates drastically increase your odds of successful marriage. Most guys in the standard...
Careful, Hafiz. Careful. Are you counting trades into that? Because if you're doing the typical thing of disqualifying plumbers, you're making a mistake with that. Because now you just eliminated blue collar workers, which is extreme. What do you call that? Classism or elitist? You be careful, Hafiz.
Are financially stable. Increases your odds as well. Most guys have strong religious and social values that they want in their partner. Drastically increases the odds as well. So when it comes to data points that affect the general average individual, we do not care about it because it's not relevant for our lives. Because for all the men who desire to be great, we do not care about average. As I said from the beginning, there will...
Whoa. You don't care about 80% of the population? Who the fuck are you talking to then? You don't care about, like, literally the people this video is intended for? Who the fuck do you think watches your shit, Hafiz? You think the 20,000 subscribers you got are all dudes in a higher tax bracket? Okay.
Always be risk in life. You can do everything the right way. You can dot all your I's and cross all your T's and still get a bad outcome. And trust me,
Stop. Please stop. I know I'm stopping this, but my God. Listen. When a reason for divorce can be we grew apart, which, by the way, I've never heard a woman say that and say she left shit behind. Like, ever. So again, when that can be a reason for divorce, all the shit you're saying right now, Hafiz Beans, it's nothing. It's dead. It's nothing. Because it ain't even about crossing your T's and dotting your I's. It's literally about just a random Tuesdays like, yeah, I ain't been feeling this for like 6 months, man. I'm kind of done. Like, there's no speech you can give for that, Hafiz. And if you're going to say, oh, well, yeah, risk, it's there. I'm talking about my life, dude. All right.
I already know there's going to be some guy in the comments that said, well, I did everything the right way and everything went right and I still got divorced. And there's going to be someone doing a reaction video that I'm not going to watch. Who's going to say, well, he doesn't know what's...
That's actually not insulting. I get like 7 views a video, so join the club of not watching my shit.
Going on, he doesn't know anything, blah, blah. You not see what happened to all these guys? Trust me.
And you just admitted that you don't even watch you, nigga, so shut up.
Enough worst case horror stories to fill up the entire universe 1,000-fold. And trust me, I've had friends who've experienced some terrible situations as well. I'm not oblivious to it. But here is the fundamental reality. There are some men who look at risk. And instead of going forward, they are paralyzed by fear. And since they're paralyzed by fear, they're trying to eliminate all risk. And then there's some men who look at risk. And instead of leaning towards fear, they lean towards wisdom. And they take tools and resources and build themselves up to alleviate the risk and have the best outcomes possible. So my message to every single man and woman watching this video is the message I give to the men of the standard every single day. And it's in this question. If there is something good that someone on this planet is experiencing, why can't that person be you?
Which is a stupid fucking question. Because there's good in being a billionaire. Why can't everybody else be Jeff Bezos? What the fuck kind of quote is this? Who said that?
If someone on this planet is having a great marriage and a great family, why can't that person be you? If somebody on this planet is financially stable and not worrying about paying their bills, why can't that person be you? If somebody on this planet is physically fit and happy and healthy, why can't that person be you? You see, we're not concerned for the men who want to be great. We're not concerned how life affects the average person. We're not concerned about propaganda that people communicate to deter us from what is good, because we will always strive and desire what is good. If someone told me 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, does that mean I gotta live paycheck to paycheck? No. Though that's true for those people, it's not gonna be true for my life. If someone said, well, 90% of business will eventually fail, so there's no point, does that mean I shouldn't start a business? No, I should still pursue my dreams and what I believe is good for my life. If somebody says, well, only 10% of people earn $100,000 a year, does that mean I should just be like, screw it? Well, only 10% of people can achieve it. I will never be able to do so. No, I should still aspire, desire, and go after what is good in spite of what anybody says. You see, for the men of the standard, we want the best in life. We want the best physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially, and even romantically, especially when it comes to marriage and family. And what's the best for most men, in my opinion, is to have a healthy family, to raise your children in your home. Most men don't want to be a baby daddy. Most men don't want to be 45 years old and juggling plates and all other kinds of nonsense communicated online. Most men want to leave a legacy, raise their legacy, and see their legacy go on to the next generation. So if you are a man who's on this purpose.
Now that he's brought up the whole legacy thing, real quick, that's not your legacy, that's the government's. When he says something on Pearl, and it annoys the hell out of me when people say this. Oh, men are the leaders of society. No, we're not. The government is. If at any minute when me and you have this baby, if you can just decide to go to government person and say, hey, I want you to do a ruling on our relationship. Okay. Like, how the fuck is that me being the leader? When you can just go right over me and just demand something.
Who's financially stable, who's emotionally healthy, as well as physically fit, and you're progressing, becoming more proficient, and a great woman comes alongside your life who desires to be with you and comes from a great family and respects you and shares your vision for life, who am I to tell you not to get married? If you're reading your word every single day and you read in Proverbs how God said, he who finds a wife finds a good thing, who am I to say that that's bad? You see, all these reasons and...
How the fuck did we get here? You wouldn't say that, Hafiz. You're on the other side. Okay, fine, let's play the game. So, when somebody says, no, I don't want to take that risk, who the fuck are you to say you should? So keep that energy and shut the fuck up about not getting married, Hafiz.
So many more are why I decided to get married. First, my parents have been married for the past 30 years and have an amazing relationship. Almost all of my mentors are married and have amazing families. Almost all of my favorite rock stars online, all the people I'm always quoting, are married and have healthy, happy families. So I see that as a beautiful and a great thing. And while I was on my purpose, while I was becoming financially stable, while I was growing spiritually, emotionally, and physically, I met a woman alongside the way who desired me and respected me, who came from an amazing family, who, when I introduced her to my family, they loved her, and when I met her family, they loved me. When I told my friends to vet her, they said she was great, and when her friends vetted me, they loved me as well. So why in the world will I reject something that's so good? And that's what I want for every man. I'm telling you, I want the best for you guys. I hate that people online are deterring you away from what is good. It really pisses me off. Because as men, we can't just say that we're the standard in our worth, but we also have to live it by our actions and be the example. I will say it one more time for all the negative people that want to complain. There will always be risk in life. But I'm telling you, as a man, you should not live your life in fear based upon risk, especially
Why do you keep saying live your life in fear? I cannot. If I decide that I don't want to cross a busy street, a busy road or a highway in the middle, instead I'd rather go to the bridge down there. Am I really living life in fear? Or am I just not taking this risk? Dude, I have a motorcycle that when I first started riding it without a license. And because I didn't have the papers, I always waited until like 2 a.m. and drove without a helmet. Because I'm a dumbass. You mean to tell me that's me living my life in fear? No, I'm just not taking a particular risk. Why do you keep using that term, that vague-ass term?
The risk that you read about from negative people online. Instead, pursue what is good. Instead, pursue what's best. Do not be trapped by pessimistic nihilism. And obviously reject childish optimism. But instead, embrace positive realism. Realize the good and the bad and the ugly, all types of things that are going on in life. But strive for the good. And never forget the question. Never forget it. And if you're going to take anything away from today's video, please take this. If there's someone in life that's experiencing the best that life has to offer, why not me? Men, women, that's...
Because it's limited. The good shit is scarce. That's facts, Hafiz. The good shit in life is scarce. Not everybody can have it. So Jeff Bezos got $1 billion. Fucking Facebook guy got $1 billion. Well, you know what I mean by 8 billion. But these people, these 1%ers, got a lot of shit. Not enough. Not enough to go around. So stop. To answer your question, that's why.
All I want for you guys. That's why I got married. And I pray to God that you guys can have the best that life has to offer. And the easiest way to deter you from that is by believing so much of the lies and the negativity that's being projected on social media and the internet.
For the man who wants more. Let's just, for fun, go and visit this comment section. See if anybody from, I am actually glad I opened this video. Very refreshing. Even with everyone climbing into fees right now, I posted a cynical comment that might, quote, Jesus predicted his followers would be prosecuted. But I announced, who the fuck is this person? Can you please stop waving your hands? Well, don't recruit. We wait for them to come. Let's see how this ages. I'll wait. How about you talk when you're 3 to 5 years into your marriage? You're high off your marriage and speak. You know what? I'm going to go to his Instagram because I checked it out a couple days ago. And it looked like he had a lot of reels with captions right on the video. So we're going to check out a couple of those. All right, so this is his Instagram. And as you see, he has a lot of just reels with fucking words on them.
Dating like a mini marriage. They meet a girl, they start having sex, they fall madly in love, and then they think, oh, we're gonna have a family together. You did no investigation, you asked no questions, you didn't see if she fits your life, you weren't being honest about yourself, you didn't know your needs, you simply went in.
That's actually, I actually agree with that. A lot of people do absolutely. We have this thing, and it's been a thing for like at least at the very minimum 10 years, where you kind of fuck yourself into a co-parenting situation with no plan or anything. That one I actually agree with. Men need to master this.
But most men lack all sexual discipline. their bodies say Pornhub, they do. Their bodies.
Yeah, I agree with that one too. What? Say something stupid.
So the question becomes, is the devil really giving you a deal?
God damn it.
I realize the most masculine of men is a man who's honest.
Right.
Because he says, this is the way I'm living my life.
Right.
You either be here
Right.
or not be here.
Right.
Though I personally don't subscribe to multiple women, AMS does it, but he's honest. He's like, yo,
Right.
it's going to be you, her, and her.
Right.
Either
Right.
join it, I
Right.
ain't changing.
Right.
This is how my life is.
Right.
I respect that because
Right.
you're a man and you're honest.
Right.
My problem is the dudes who are like, oh, it's only you, baby.
Right.
I only want
See,
you.
that's the
I
shit.
want nobody
Yeah.
else.
Okay. But in small snippets, he actually kind of sounds like he makes sense.
I get mad at myself because I'm not good enough to win MVP. I'm not good enough to take my team to the championship.
How the fuck can people listen? That was boring as hell.
Dang, he's making millions at 22 years old. So I'm about to make my first million. So I was like, I'm going to do it myself. So like I said, I did 84 1 month. The next month, oh my gosh, I was done. I was emotionally, physically done.
All right, well that's enough because it's not giving me shit here. All right, so that was the Hafiz's joint. Be right, not positive. I'm out.